too.
Greetings. We were just discussing the repealing of the Vision Hunt Decree. Since you're here, you're very welcome to listen in on the conversation. We invited Mr. Kaidahara here to extend a gesture of goodwill on behalf of the shogunate. Your hard work has secured for us the agreeable state of affairs that we now enjoy. Also, the Almighty Shogun has issued a large array of directives aimed at resolving, or at least easing, the tensions that have built up over. The Tri-Commission has made the recommendation to use this opportunity to restore the honor of the Kaidahara name. Regarding the history of the Kaidahara clan, I trust that you're already somewhat informed. In short, there was once a group of select bladesmiths who served the shogun directly, responsible for upholding and further developing. But there came a time when some of these bladesmiths revolted and fled to Snezhnaya. Both the Kaidahara and Kamisato clans were... We later learned that the whole misadventure had been secretly orchestrated by the Fatui, attributing all of the blame to the Kamisato and Kaidahara clan. Considering Mr. Kaidahara has once more made an outstanding contribution to Inazuma, the Almighty Shogun believes he should not only be rewarded for his achievements, but also receive recompense for the... In the interest of preventing further harassment of the Bladesmith clans by the Fatui, we chose not to publicly release the findings of our investigations into these...
This is a true honor. I am delighted to be in a position to receive the goodwill of the Almighty Shogun and the shogunate. However, would I be correct to assume that this
I can assure you that nothing could be further from the truth. We seek only to correct a past injury. With the Kaidahara clan's reputation and occupation restored, the Kaidaharas will be bladesmiths once more, and your wanderings will finally... You will be able to lead a safe and prosperous life in Inazuma City with the Almighty
I have grown accustomed to life among the elements. I fear I would no longer feel at home behind the tall wall, yet my ancestors did indeed take great pride in the name of Kaidahara, and the art of...
I sense some hesitation in your words. Should you accept this offer, I imagine many of the malicious rumors currently...
Malicious rumors? All we heard on the way here was so much praise that we all...
Well, to some, the Muso no Hitotachi is something that can never be defeated. They cannot accept the idea that Mr. Kaidahara really parried the Shogun's strike. Also, eyewitnesses saw him using the power of Electro in addition to that of Animo.
What? But that doesn't make sense.
That is correct. However, to some people, the idea of a single person wielding two elements...
This is just one of many similar rumors. I am very uncomfortable with being the subject of public discussion, no matter whether it brings suspicion or... But perhaps if the shogunate is willing to publicly support me,
This is precisely why I encourage you to give our offer some serious thought.
Please, in fact, let us put this discussion on hold for the moment. Well then.
Yikes! We nearly forgot about the most...
Why would such a dangerous individual be looking for me? No. This puzzles me as my fighting forms were taught to me by my family, based on techniques originally developed for blade testing. We undergo rigorous training to standardize every motion the blade is put through, so that each can be fairly assessed for quality. Over time, these techniques came to form something of a Kaidahara sword art, focused on blade testing, but with a full repertoire of combat forms. Those forms are quite different from the more practical ones typically used by samurai in battle.
All the more reason to watch your back. This guy was a serious nutcase.
Indeed. He sounds highly aggressive. Anyone he targets is at risk of serious injury.
In that case, I will send some men out immediately to search for him.
Thank you. I must say I am now very curious about this matter, and I will also need some time to consider your... I will first join the traveler in investigating the one who attacked him, then give you a conclusive answer upon my return.
Very well. Please stay safe.
Come on. Let's go and track down your aggressor.
The detective agency knows the most about what goes on in town. Let's see what Ryuji has to say.
secretly investigating an assault and would have...
Oh? You were targeted in an assault?
Let me think. Mr. Kaidehara is currently the talk of the town, so there are always a lot of people looking for him. To be honest with you, our detective agency has recently been receiving many inquiries from people wishing to obtain Mr. Kaidehara's personal information. Some of them were offering us millions of mora just to gather the information they want. If these were more legitimate commissions, some...
Millions of mora?
Please, accept my thanks for looking out for my privacy.
Of course. No matter what, we only take on legitimate cases. Sorry, I got a little off topic. What I'm really trying to say is, it doesn't surprise me that a complete stranger is looking for Mr. Kaidehara. But I wouldn't know where to begin if we want to connect this with an assault.
Then let's put that connection aside for now. Have there been any other attacks or similar incidents recently that stand out as particularly unusual? The Tenryou Commission had very few leads. I thought you might have some information from different sources.
It's true that the commissioners aren't clued up about every little thing that goes on out in the streets. But typically, it's only the most trivial. If anyone had been out there attacking people, that would be assault, in which case the Tenryou Commission would absolutely get involved.
Oh, that does make sense. Uh-oh. Looks like the trail's already run cold.
I still find it difficult to believe that whoever attacked you hasn't been causing any trouble elsewhere. Few people possess your prowess in battle, so unless you were the first person he targeted, someone is certain to have been hurt by now. I am well aware of your talents. There is no need to be humble around me. It would cause me great grief to see someone become critically injured or lose their life because of me. The poor victim? This would be a completely senseless crime.
Don't worry, we'll find him.
It seems you are every bit the selfless hero they make you out to be, Mr. Kaidehara. Surely this same concern for your fellow man is what drove you to fearlessly raise your blade against the...
You flatter me. Truth be told,
You are much too humble. Don't worry, I completely understand your concern. Oh, actually, there was one strange incident. Let me tell you about it just in case.
sure. During times like this, the more information we have, the better.
All right then. Recently, 2 people went missing from the city at around the same time.
One of them is a pretty well-known collector, surnamed Nagato. The other...
Amanoma. Now there's a familiar name.
Right. Yuya is the nephew of Amenoma Togo, the owner of Amenoma Smith. 2 grown men going missing at the same time.
Their cases are likely connected. I recall this because Amenoma Yuya is also an accomplished martial artist who is skilled with the blade. Perhaps...
Understood. Though it seems highly unlikely to me. I neither know this man, nor do I have any idea why he may wish to attack me.
Sure, can't hurt. We never know what we might find out along the way.
Thank you, Ryuji. We'll start by making
sounds good. All the best with your investment.
Ah, if it isn't Kaidehara Kazuha. What brings you here today?
Yes, the Kaedehara and Amenoma clans were both members of the Raiden Gokaden. Historically, there have always been deep links between the two clans. After I returned to Inazuma, I visited Mr. Amenoma to pay my respects. Yes, you may recall the story of the Raiden Gokaden from the Iridori Festival.
Though all bladesmiths trace their craft back to the same source, over time, each of us has arrived at a different blade-making. As an example, the Amenoma art strives to emulate the abiding patience. There is nothing mystical to our work. There is only practice, day in. As for the art of the Kaedehara clan, I believe it's called the Ishin art.
That's right. Ishin art strives for complete harmony that only a blade thus forged can capture and convey its maker's thoughts and feelings, and eventually become an extension of its wielder's will.
Indeed. Most samurai choose their blades, but an Ishin blade, you are, without a doubt, the most worthy wielder of an Ishin blade.
You overestimate me. My actions are guided by my own personal sentiments, not by any noble aspirations on behalf of my clan. But let's get back on topic. The purpose of our visit today is to gather some information on your missing nephew. We hope to assist with the investigation. It may turn out that this case is connected to another we are pursuing.
Ah, yes. My nephew. I reported the case to the Tenryo Commission, but I haven't heard anything back so far. He didn't say a word before he left, which is very unlike him. I'm still completely at a loss on what to make of it, but I've done what I can so far. Worrying is futile. All I can do now is...
We heard that there was a collector involved in the disappearance too. Know anything about that?
Yes. On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very cryptic look. I believe he went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato. After that, the next thing I heard was that a fire had broken out at the warehouse. Yes. Strange, isn't it? I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was very little evidence left behind, so nobody knows what really happened.
Do you have any thoughts on what Yuya may have wanted to...
If I had to guess, it must have been some kind of rare weapon. Otherwise, there would have been no reason for it. He's never been particularly interested in blade forging, but has always had a fondness for blade testing, and can sense even the most minute differences in blade quality. He is extraordinarily talented in martial arts, particularly when it comes to the art of the sword.
Truth be told, we have some information that you may find to be objectionable. Based on the evidence we have gathered so far, only Yuya seems to match the
What? No. Absolutely impossible. He is humble and kind. Even his training is done with the
Is that...
Yes. If there's one thing I can say for certain. But, with that said, it's equally out of character for him to I also cannot know what course of action he might be capable of if coerced, or otherwise compelled by circumstances Anyway, should you find him, please let me know as soon as possible.
Don't worry. You have our word.
From the sound of that, Paimon doesn't think Yuya was the one who attacked us as well.
Yes. It sounds as if something happened when the two men met each other. Let's pay a visit to the Nagato household.
sorry. My husband...
No, no.
I'm sorry you have to...
I'm afraid we don't have any new information. With this in mind, can we perhaps...
For example, Paymon's...
That's a long story. He'd always get so animated when he was showing them to me. I knew nothing about the items myself, but seeing how enthusiastic and excited they made him, I was happy to believe that they were just... Everything was fine when we first got married. But as time went by, things changed for the worse.
Uh-oh. What happened?
He lost his sense of restraint. He started buying more and more things, and even resorted to borrowing money. Our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons. It was awful. There were days when he'd spend hours down at the warehouse admiring his weapon. He wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them. Just sat there staring at them like he was in a trance. I'm happy he has a hobby, and I'm willing to support him. But making ends meet has to come first. I've tried talking to him about it, so on the last day that I saw him, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, if he refused to sell his collectibles and pay off his debts, I would divorce him and take the children with me.
Whoa!
And that led to an argument.
Actually, it didn't. Generally, he's a quiet man who likes to go with the flow. You must understand, I never would have dreamed of threatening him with divorce if the debts hadn't pushed our... After I said those words, he froze and was silent for a long... His voice was so meek and pitiful that I felt an urge to take everything back. But then what? If I didn't draw the line, what would happen to our... Had I not indulged his bad habits, we wouldn't have found ourselves in such a predicament. And I also don't know if he had actually come to his senses, or if he was simply angry with me. The next thing I heard was that our warehouse had caught fire, and both he and the buyer had gone missing.
I see. I understand. Amenoma Yuya came to purchase a weapon from Mr. Nagato. During the sale, a fire broke out at the warehouse, and both men disappeared.
At first, I assumed they must have gotten into an argument over the price. But my husband has never been one to negotiate. He never even haggles when he's out buying groceries, so it's hard to imagine him getting into a fear...
Maybe he would...
I don't know. He just disappeared after the warehouse. Perhaps he's too afraid to come home now that all his Even though I'm still a little mad at him. We're a family. As long as he's willing to turn over a new leaf, I know we can work...
Please don't get upset. There could be more to this situation than meets the eye. If collecting things is a habit that Mr. Nagato had his whole life, but the information we gathered from the other side suggests Amenoma Yuya is also a mild-mannered man who would not be likely to... This situation is getting a little
confusing. More like completely mystifying.
Let's try a change of scenery and see if we can... Rest assured, we'll notify you if we find anything.
Thank you so much.
Based on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the sales meeting between the two men was somehow the catalyst for their disappearance. And the fire at the warehouse likely played a... Do you have any thoughts?
Well, Paimon was thinking that... Nope, never mind. Paimon's brain needs to rest for a while. Over to you.
An interesting explanation. I was also considering this possibility. Amenoma Yuya is an expert on swords. Maybe he recognized a blade as a fake, or a well-known stolen item. Either way, after arguing about it, they thought a fire would destroy everything. But then the Tenryou Commission began investigating, but it's a far-fetched theory. I can't imagine how they would have been able to reach an agreement. One fact that I keep coming back to is that Amenoma Yuya is polite and well-mannered, while Mr. Nagato is introverted and passive. Neither seems like the type of person who is inclined. Mr. Nagato, being heavily in debt, is also the only one of them with the potential motive to disappear after the fire. The more I ponder it, the more puzzling it becomes. Just what could have happened, right? Although the time frame seems to broadly match, Amenoma Yuya lacks a key distinguishing feature of the attacker, namely that he is principally a practitioner of the blade testing technique.
Darn! We thought we could get two birds with one stone here, but at this rate, it's starting to look like...
Let's keep going, since we've come this far. If we can solve the case, both Mr. Amenoma and Mrs. Nagato will be able to get some closure.
Okay, but where should we go now?
Let's head out of the city and check out the warehouse. There's still a chance. Wait. I hear something ominous in the wind.
Oh! This must be another one of those sounds that only you can hear. As sketchy as that whole thing seems, you did put it to good use when we were chasing down that vision thief at Beto's tournament, so...
Now I'm picking up a strong scent in addition to the sound. It's right around here somewhere.
There's nothing here.
It's gone now, but I can still sense the direction it left in. It felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazuma. Indeed. But this unexpected spring of inauspicious energy may prove to be of benefit. We should remain vigilant and approach slowly.
So it's an
The force is definitely... The source of the Tatarigami energy has long since left this place, but the residue it left behind still hasn't Judging from the concentration, I would have to conclude that the Tatarigami source resided here for a very...
Mrs. Nagato said her husband used to hang around the warehouse by himself a lot.
It could well be that he was already under the influence of Tatarigami energy at that time. From what I've been told, Tatarigami does not turn all upon whom it preys into violent monsters. But most will develop a stubborn streak upon being exposed to the Tatarigami's unfulfilled whim. Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with. The influence of Tatarigami could explain why he became
So what should we do now? Go down and take a look?
Step back. I'll open the door and take a look inside. If we don't open this door, we can move no closer to the truth. You needn't worry. Both of us have...
What's down there?
Everything's buried in debris. I can't see anything. It looks like the fire caused a cave-in, reducing the entire warehouse to rubble.
That was too scary. Paimon was so sure that...
All we can do searching in the direction that the Tatarigami energy. Two ordinary humans, entangled with the Tatarigami. I fear much misfortune has already befallen them. Yes, let's go. If nothing else, it's vital that we find out where this Tatarigami energy is coming from. Quiet your mind and focus on what you sense around you. Perhaps you too will. From this point, the trail appears to split into two. The main source of the Tatarigami energy continued on into the distance, but a small portion remained here and seems to be dissipating slowly. Quite possibly.
Look at all those flying turtles. They're acting really strangely.
Something seems to be drawing their attention. Let's take a closer look. Witness my great undertaking.
Whirling snow. Emerge. Right here. Look at this.
By the looks of it, a letter written on a piece of torn clothing. Well, let's take a look. According to this letter, a conflict arose because Aminoma Yuya wanted to seize up. Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded Mr. Nagato in the fight. Mr. Nagato kept chase as long as he could, eventually stopping here to write this letter when his strength gave out.
So, where is he?
He was not only mortally wounded, but also under the heavy influence of Tatarigami. Add to that the fact that its aura seems to have attracted a horde of monsters. Whatever traces there may have been of his fate beyond after this point, they've since been disturbed by the hilly churls. There's nothing more for us to find here. Yes, right now we need to uncover some. If Aminoma Yuya is attacking other people indiscriminately, then the longer we take to find him, the more people risk meeting the same tragic end.
Right, so let's get moving.
I wouldn't be surprised if he, too, fell prey to the influence of... For a practitioner of the martial arts, the easiest desire to inflame would be their pursuit of all the clues that at first seemed disparate and disconnected. I have a hypothesis that, if it's correct...
Wait, you figured it out? So these two cases...
I believe so. But it's some... On with the search. We must...
Why here? Is there any...
I'm not sure. But on closer examination, I sense that the... Show yourself! It's no use hiding anymore.
Kazua. It's you, at last.
Aha! So it is the same. What's your problem, huh? What could you possibly have against...
Indeed, there should be no enmity between us. If it is Ame no Yuya that stands before us. But what if instead of facing Ame no Yuya, we are in fact facing the blade in his hand?
Now that you mention it, it is giving... Whoa, whoa! Surely you don't mean...
Tatarigami energy often lodges itself within physical objects, then works to subtly affect any living organisms in its vicinity. The blade has resided in Mr. Nagato's warehouse for many years, or rather as a means to occupy Ame no Yuya's body.
You're sharper than I thought. You've already deduced the truth of the matter. Many, many years ago, I was forged by a famed bladesmith of the Ishin tradition. I was his pride and joy. In me, he placed all his hopes. As a descendant of the Kaedehara clan, you should be able to guess our greatest regret.
I presume it has something to...
Indeed. At that point in time, he failed to live up to the Raiden Shogun's expectations. He was a bladesmith of great renown, a master of his craft. There was nothing that he could not accomplish. All he needed was more time and a little faith. And sure enough, in the end, he achieved what he had set out to do. All of his life's work, his wisdom, he not only bestowed upon me the greatest of strength, but also endowed me with a consciousness of my own. In her conceit, the Raiden Shogun lost not only the single most perfect blade in the entire world, but also...
So... swords can become conscious and control people?
The people of the time in which I was born never believed I had that kind of power. They saw me as a mere blade, a sharp and well-crafted one, but in all other respects an ordinary weapon. But that gave me the opportunity to... After the death of my creator, I decided to leave Snezhnaya and began my long quest to return to the distant land of Inazuma. Moving from one person, I seek but one thing. Face the full force of the Raiden Shogun's blade and prove my power, the might of Ishin art.
Ah, so Ame no Yuya was not your first victim. Tell me, possessed when you...
Hosts? Who cares what happens to them? They are but tools that serve my mission. When they got tired, or injured, or unusable, I hopped to the next one in line. All I needed them for was to take me back to Inazuma.
You're awful.
After I returned to Inazuma, I decided to bide my time in Nagato's at long last. I'm approaching my journey's destination. By Amenoma Yuya's body, I have found you. And by your hand, I shall defeat the Raiden Shogun. Kaedehara Kazua, you stood against the Raiden Shogun's Musonogi Totachi. There can be no other to serve as my host for what is to come. Now, give your body over to me! More. Even if you defeat me here, the one who falls will not be me, but this man. He is but a puppet that can be replaced. I can take a new vessel at will. The end result is the same. I will end this wretch's life before you can lift a finger. And even if I were to lose my physical form, it is but a small setback. My consciousness by any means necessary, and any medium available, I shall return and fulfill my destiny!
Your fighting style. It is indeed the forms of Ishin, but from your movements, I sense only hatred and arrogance, as well as a thinly veiled mania and despair.
Really? You can tell all that?
As I've mentioned before, the forms of Ishin art convey the user's thoughts and feelings. Since the blade is currently possessing Amenoma Yuya's body, its movements express the innermost thoughts of the blade. If you ask me, the mania is probably due to your desperate, single-minded ambition. You believe I am your only hope.
Are you trying to claim that I am helpless without you? On his deathbed, he passed to me all of Ishin art's secrets. The little that you know barely scratches the surface. In that regard, why would I ever need your help?
Because all of that is in the past. I've been wondering why you've not caused more trouble in all the years that you've been in Inazuma. If you are indeed a cursed blade that can possess its owner. Now that I've seen inside your mind, everything finally makes sense. You weren't biding your time. You were trapped. After all the time that's passed, you have grown weak. To the point that you are now unable to acquire a new host without making physical contact.
Oh, that's right. Paimon remembers now. Mr. Nagato had a habit of never touching his collectibles.
Only when Mr. Nagato witnessed his wife's distress and decided to sell his collectibles did you...
What of it?
Well, that brings me to my second point. There's a You were determined to fulfill your maker's ambition, whatever the cost. I think you realized your limitations long ago. The more you clenched your teeth and pressed forward, the greater everything you had achieved grew, and the more you wished to run from the... But the way I see it, what began as an ambition has long since become...
What would you know about any of this? I'm just one step away.
You returned to Inazuma to prove the unparalleled brilliance of Ishin art. But to make this arduous journey, you committed countless atrocities and showed a blatant disregard for human life. Even if you were to sever that divine light, is this truly the outcome that your maker would have desired? Sure, you inherited the secrets of Ishin art, but even as you made your journey to honor this legacy, you treated the ones who wielded you as mere tools to do your bidding. How could you possibly unleash the full potential of Ishin art when you act in perfect discordance with the principle of harmony between a blade and its bearer?
Silence, you blabbering fool! I must achieve my goal. This was his life's dream, and the very purpose for which I was brought. I will concede that you are most perceptive. You see my predicament clearly. But you also underestimate.
And you should face reality.
Easy for you to say. Facing reality offers me nothing. I have no need of anything that would stand in my way. Not hesitation, not self-reflection. It is pointless to argue further. Descendant of the Kaida.
How stubbornly you stick to your... I do not believe for a second that you can challenge the almighty Shogun in your current state. So let us make a bet, and I will put your strength to the test.
What? Surely you're not planning to...
Very well. Then find yourself some enemies with whom you wish to cross-blade. Once we have dealt with them, we shall proceed to Tenshukaku.
And as for your end of the bargain, if you lose, you must release Amenoma Yuya from your control.
I accept.
Don't do this, Kazua!
This is the only way to save Amenoma Yuya. If we don't do this, he'll forever be the Blade's puppet. The cursed Blade's strength is currently very weak, and I sense he's hesitating. This suggests the power of the Tatarigami lies in intensifying existing obsessions.
But even so...
Even if things take a turn for the worse, I still have you both here with me. We have a chance here to save an innocent victim. I am willing to accept the risks entailed.
Your disdain for me betrays your woeful ignorance. I agreed to this bet now. Take me in your...
Kazua?
I'm okay. I felt a little dizzy at first, but only for... It's all right. So far, this was as I expected. I will. Thank you.
What should we do next? Have you got a plan, Kazua?
We find some enemies. Although this blade has endured much turmoil, it probably hasn't experienced many real fights. If a blade built for Ishin art cannot enter a state of harmony between blade and bearer, it cannot unleash its true power. If he wants to avoid reality, then we need to fight until he has no choice but to face it. He shouldn't last long in an intense combat situation.
Wait a minute! Paimon remembers hearing about something from the Adventurers Guild. Since the Takatsukasa clan abandoned that secret base, it's been held by
All right.
What about Amenoma Yuya?
The blade says he'll let Amenoma Yuya trail us silently. Although he hasn't regained his own consciousness yet, he is not in any immediate danger.
hear this is a good idea. Okay, fine.
Leave everything on this journey to me.
Let's get down to business. Fallen leaves, adorn my night.
How are you feeling? You okay?
I'm all right. The blade is performing largely as I expected. Having gone so long without proper use and maintenance, it's become very difficult to use. Though he's making every effort to persevere, I do not think he can last much longer.
Something else on your mind?
How strange. Rather than trying to control me, let's keep going.
Let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Feel my blade. More. As one with wind and cloud. To the fairy.
Something's up with the blade.
I can sense that his strength is slowly fading away. The blade is becoming more and more difficult for me to wield. He cannot hold out much longer. If he keeps persisting, he will likely break apart at any moment.
Like, what would that do to Amanome Yuya?
I will be careful with it. He also says he does not have any plans to give up easily. He's still trying to achieve his... Yes. And it looks like
The sheen's grown a bit dimmer again. It doesn't look anywhere near as impressive as it...
perhaps this time we'll finally have a chance to see his true form.
True form? What are you talking about? Is this the same blade as before? It looks like a piece of junk!
If you choose to continue in the state you're in, you wouldn't even be able to beat Samurai and Kairagi, much less the almighty Shogun. Maybe you did truly wield power to rival the Shogun's light when first forged. But the long journey from Snezhnaya back to Inazuma has left you battered and broken. It barely needs stating anymore. Your ambition is a flight of fancy. I've finally figured out why it was that you wanted to reach a state of harmony with me, but regrettably we are nothing alike. I will never understand your obstinate. The only one who truly understood you had already passed away by the time you were born.
Huh? What's that supposed to mean?
Here they are! Take them down!
Where do they keep coming from? Yep, we can help this time.
Don't worry. I'll use... It's just more of the same.
You fought way better with...
You are a true Kaedehara in flesh and in spirit. Though we fought briefly together, you have seen me for who I really am. No one knew anything of my story throughout my travels, nor did I tell it to anyone. You are the first person to know the truth. I thought that if I could achieve Ishin harmony with you, perhaps there would still be a ray of hope for me.
But in this too, you have failed.
Indeed. No matter how hard I tried, I could not attain that perfect harmony that your personal blade does with you. Too much time has passed. My physical state is poor, and without proper maintenance, I can only disguise my true appearance behind an outer sheen. Yours is the blade that took on the Muso no Hitotachi. And what a magnificent blade it is. Perhaps I shall never reach...
Actually, this is just a generic blade that I picked up during my travels in Liyue.
What?
Forging and maintenance are both important for a blade, but they are not everything. This blade has traveled the land with me for many years, and we have formed a close bond during that time. Plus, in the moment that I most needed it, I received aid from another power. Skill, blade, determination, and desire. All these must be aligned in the practice of Ishin art. There is something else I must tell you. Though your maker may not have been aware, your ability to possess your own consciousness derived from the power of the Tatarigami. Tatarigami is a malevolence from the ancient past. It is the source of your mania and savagery. Though you tried to cooperate with me while I was wielding you, the part of you driven by Tatarigami was constantly trying to seize control of my body.
I sensed it, but I couldn't change it. It is an integral part of my consciousness.
I resisted its temptations because I wanted to save Amenoma Yuya. But I do not know whether you yourself have any intention of trying to fight it. I feel a great sense of regret for you. Since the moment you embarked on this journey, you lost the only person who could have ever unleashed your true potential. And yet there was no way for you to turn your back on his ambition. You have known this for a long time. It is the true source of your despair.
He gave me everything. My life, my form, my consciousness. How could I possibly deny him his wish? I said to him, "Do not worry. From here on, I shall forge your legacy." How could I go back on my word?
Aww.
I believe our bet is now settled. I have nothing further to say.
Where are you going, Kazua?
He now has neither the ability nor the motivation to cause further harm. Let's give him some time to reflect. When I touched the hilt for the first time, it's as if I was transported to a strange dimension. It was somewhere I've never been. A bladesmith lay quietly on the bed, his frail face barely visible under the moon. A newly forged blade lay by his side, listening attentively to his final words.
Wow. That was the Blade's memory.
Indeed. While in exile in Snezhnaya, the bladesmith eventually learned the truth behind everything that had happened. The Ishin art had been dealt a devastating blow by the desertion of its best smiths. He spent the rest of his life in the forge, not to vent his frustration and hatred, but to atone for his actions. He felt intense regret at being tricked by the Fatui, but he could never again return to his homeland. His sole wish was to one day return his single, proudest creation back to the land of his birth. So he instructed this sentient blade to find a way back to Inazuma, no matter how long or how hard the journey. But he never wished to rival the gods. All he wanted to show was that they once shone brilliantly as blade and smith, that they were still worthy of being trusted.
So that's the truth. But after that, the blacksmith's intentions were worked by the Tatarigami, slowly turning his proud creation into the cursed blade of today.
Right. I believe the bladesmith might never have known that the power he worked with was that of the Tatarigami. The hatred within that power is what sent the blade down its ill-fated path. This blade has committed unforgivable atrocities, but only because it lost its original master. No one was there to correct its errors when it was losing its way.
Shame it's too...
Yes. Time would not wait or stop because of his determination. Well, he seems to have calmed down, though. Let's go and check in.
When I look back at the past, I can remember the day of my forging. I once told him that I would pay any price to fulfill his wishes. Such was the debt I owed to him for giving me the gift. But darkness and slaughter numbed the mind. Over time, I lost sight of the difference between gratitude and grudge. Not only did I fail to fulfill his ambition, I also defiled it.
You are finally seeing reality clearly.
Since we agreed to the terms of the bet, I will honor the agreement and release Amenoma Yuya. But I still cannot bring myself to forsake his ambition. It is the entire purpose for my existence. So, may I ask you to help me fulfill the ambitions of myself and my creator?
Hey! Now you're adding yours into the mix, too? Jeez, don't push your luck, mister.
It has to be done in this order. At least hear what I have to say. And if you don't agree, I will still release Ame no Yuya as promised. My physical form, as well as the knowledge I possess.
His attitude has grown. What do you think, Kazua? Should we give him a chance?
Let's hear it.
Thank you all. When I was first forged, my maker was already terminally ill. He told me that he had wanted me to have the grandest. Alas, after that, he never rose from his sickbed again. Nor have I ever had the chance to prove myself in battle since. My fights were devoid of any noble meaning. They were merely the next step in my never-ending journey. The next in a long... You are a fine warrior. I would like to request your hand in battle and experience a true duel between samurai.
Oh? And who would be the opponent?
I will release Ame no Yuya and restore his consciousness. Perhaps after that, you can convince him to commit to a fight with you. He must have plenty of reasons to both hate me and desire a good fight.
Understood. Then let's start by waking him up and seeing if he has the stamina and will to fight.
I see. He used my body to inflict harm on others. I utterly despise him and his actions. But since he stayed true to you, if a duel can help to set this state of affairs in order, I am willing to put myself forward. I do not wish to be a mere victim in this story.
There's no need to worry. We'll vouch for your innocence.
Thanks for your help. Who knows how this would have ended without your intervention?
All right, then let's move on. More Ronin could appear at any moment. We can't stay here. In any case, for a final duel, I think we should aim for a greater sense of ceremony.
masterminds, I'm in a bit of a crux crash. Yep, we still can't let our guard down. Even now, still. Even if he's way past the... Are you ready?
Ready? Okay. Successor of Ishin art.
Successor of Amenoma art. Amenoma Yuya.
Honored to cross blades with you.
It is my honor also. Thank you for the experience. Although he appears battered and broken, in your hands it seems he's regained a glimmer of brilliance. His sense of savage cruelty has completely faded away. But that same sense of determination...
You also fought well. I'm sure he relished the experience. There are a few things that I shall leave him to tell you himself.
I must apologize to you for all that has transpired.
You need not seek my forgiveness, nor do I have the right to forgive you on your victim's behalf. It is too late for all of...
I do not wish for forgiveness. I only hope that you will see my transgressions as mine alone, and not let them stain the legacy of Ishin art. I strayed far from the straight and narrow path, but the Ishin art still has a worthy successor in Kaedehara Kazua. I beseech you, please understand this.
Yes, I too trust Mr. Kaedehara to do the right thing.
Thank you, successor of Amenoma art.
This blade has also told me that he has another wish. He would like to visit the Amenoma smithy. Maybe we can go back there together.
What does he want to...
I am not sure, but I think that all this is about to come to an end.